What's up, fight fans? Thanks as always for coming through, much appreciated. Remember, hit that subscribe button if you guys are new to the channel. Shout out to Hatman Strikes Back. He did a video about, I'd say about a couple of weeks, no, not that long ago. Maybe about 10 days ago, talking about the possibility, the real possibility of Floyd Mayweather actually stepping in the MMA octagon and in particular fighting a certain Conor McGregor. Up until an hour ago, I would have said BS to that. I would have said, nope, that fight just isn't going to happen. No chance. And I think Hatman Strikes Back made some good points. He said, we all remember when it was first mentioned that Conor would fight Floyd in a boxing ring. I think all of us kind of started laughing and giggling. And boxing aficionados, and I'm not going to call them out, but boxing guys that I respect in the game said there's absolutely no chance of that happening, right? People lost their credibility for even talking about it. And that fight did happen. That fight played out. And that fight went on to do, I think, what are we saying right now? 4 million, 3 million pay-per-view buys. So it was an absolute success. The second financially biggest boxing match in the history of the sport, which is incredible. So when we talk about Floyd Mayweather going into MMA and we immediately kind of shut it down and say absolutely no chance, just remember those people, including myself, were the ones that were saying that Floyd is never going to fight Conor in a boxing match. So let's remember that. Secondly, I was just watching an interview with Tyron Woodley, the current UFC 170-pound champion. And he's been talked about. A lot of people are speaking to him right now because he's the man that supposedly will train or has trained or is in some type of training with Floyd Mayweather. He mentioned a figure in terms of what Floyd could be paid for a potential MMA fight. $300 million. That, ladies and gentlemen, right there is why this fight is probably going to happen. Now, $300 million is an obscene amount of money for any human being. It's an incredible amount of money. And for those of you that think, okay, yeah, but Floyd is worth $1 billion or Floyd is worth $600 million, $300 million. Say Floyd is worth 600 million, 650, 700. We're basically saying, Floyd, we'll give you half of what you've made in your career for one fight. Now, even if you're Floyd and you're thinking, that will change your mind very quickly. And I mean very quickly. Now, for those of you that, again, saying that Floyd will possibly lose and get beaten up, probably, but I've watched Conor since he came to the UFC and before that when he was fighting in Britain. Conor, 95% of the time, is a stand-up fighter. For those of you that are not into mixed martial arts, basically what that means is that Conor doesn't take his opponents to the ground. He does submit sometimes, but never really in the UFC. He doesn't wrestle. He literally stands up. So he will stand up like a boxing match and fight you. 90% of the time, he finishes his fights with his fists. So Floyd would be fighting a Conor McGregor that, yes, has some wrestling skills, yes, has some jiu-jitsu skills, but really is a stand-up fighter. Again, look, Conor will win and is hugely favourite to win. But this is a lot more easier than Floyd fighting a Khabib Nurmagomedov, who is just a beast who will literally pick up Floyd, throw him down, and kick the shit out of him. Conor will try and stand and fight, which really and truly is pretty close to a boxing match. Now, let me kind of give you an example of how that could play out. A lot of you boxing fans might know a lady called Holly Holm, right? Holly Holm was a kickboxer, mainly known for her boxing. She was a world championship boxer who transitioned over to mixed martial arts. Her biggest standout fight of all time, one of the biggest fights in UFC history, was against Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey is probably one of the best grapplers that women's mixed martial arts has ever seen, right? Holly Holm is probably one of the best stand-up in terms of her boxing abilities, one of the best. So if you're Ronda, what you really want to do against Holly is take her down, right? You want to take her down, get her on the floor, and beat her up. Because that's your best weapon. That's your best chance. Holly Holm was able to put her stamp on the fight and use her stand-up skills to dictate the fight against a grappler. Hope this is making sense. So Holly Holm, the boxer, was able to use her boxing skills, pretty much, her foot movement, slipping the punches, her jab, to basically beat up Ronda Rousey and then eventually knock her out with a head kick. I'm not saying that Floyd will beat Conor. No, not at all. What I am saying, though, is that it's not as dumb as you think. This fight, I'm saying it now, will probably happen. The UFC have reached out. Dana White has confirmed that he has spoken to Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather on Showtime yesterday confirmed that if he does come back, he's not going to come back to the boxing ring, but he's going to come back to the octagon. Believe you me, conversations have happened. And I repeat, conversations have happened because the figure being bandied about is $300 million. Do you know how much that is? Do you have any idea as to how much money $300 million is? For what? Even if it's an arse whooping, so what? No shame. Floyd's not an MMA fighter. Floyd's a boxer. So what if he goes into the octagon and gets his ass kicked? Do you think Floyd's ego's going to hurt? $300 million richer? Ladies and gentlemen, I think this fight's going to happen. I really do. I even do believe. I do believe it might not even be Conor. There's a guy floating around called CM Punk. You guys might know him from WWE days. He came from wrestling, no athletic background. He had a fight, in the UFC. Got his ass kicked. He's fighting in a few months in Chicago. There is rumors floating around that Floyd could fight him, which makes sense. And even if Floyd fights him and not Conor, Floyd will still make a lot of money. But don't get it twisted. The real money is in Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather. Floyd did say, he did whisper in the build-up to their fight that, look, he would do an MMA fight. I think journalists asked him, would you go across? Floyd said, hell yeah, I'd go across. I find it interesting. If you were to ask me this question, like I said 3-4 days ago, I'd have said, shut your mouth. But now I've heard from Floyd. Now I've heard from Dana. Now I've heard from Tyron Woodley. UFC is struggling. They have no superstars right now. They're about to try and sign a new TV partnership deal. They need some superstar names. They're going to sign Brock Lesnar after WrestleMania. Floyd Mayweather will be very interesting. And believe in me, Floyd Mayweather's a superstar. Ladies and gentlemen, Floyd, Conor, 2018 will happen. Trust me.